Today's video is different and many of you will be going to understand the real rat race and rat trap. Are we live in fake simulation? Before understanding, first listen to this story. Once there was a man who went around selling rat traps made out of wire. But his business was not profitable, so he had to beg and steal a bit to keep himself alive. One dark evening, the peddler reached a little grey cottage by the roadside. He knocked the door and asked for shelter that night. The owner was an old man who was happy to get someone to talk to in his loneliness. He treated the peddler very well and fed him and played cards till the bedtime. He also told that he got 30 krona, Swedish currency, every day by selling milk at the creamery. Then he hung a leather pouch on the window frame where he kept the 30 krona. The next morning the peddler thanked the old man and went away. But he again returned back and found that the old man was not there, so he broke the window frame and stole the 30 krona. He was really pleased with his smartness, but he dared not continue on the highway. So he took to the woods. The forest was big and confusing. He realized that he had been walking around the same part of the forest. He sank down in gloom and despair. After some time, he heard the sound of hammer strokes. He got up and moved towards the direction of the sound. It led him to an iron mill. The peddler walked into the mill and sat close to the furnace as it was biting cold outside. Just then an iron master who owned the mill came in on his nightly rounds of inspection. Then he caught the peddler in ragged clothes sitting close to the furnace. He went closer to examine his face and shouted in merry, "Nils Olof." The iron master assumed the peddler to be one of his old regimental comrade. He finds him in a pitiable state and insists him to spend the Christmas with him. But the peddler refuses the offer thrice. So he sends his daughter Miss Edla to persuade him. She addresses him as Captain and promises that he would leave just as freely as he had come. She persuaded him in such a friendly manner that the peddler agrees to go. The next day was the Christmas Eve and the peddler was dressed clean in good clothes. But the iron master was not pleased and he realized he made a mistake last night. In the broad daylight, it was impossible to mistake him for his old acquaintance. The iron master got angry and wanted to inform the police. The peddler interrupted that he would put on his ragged clothes and go away. Just then Edla entered and spoke in favor of the peddler. The young girl wanted the peddler to enjoy the Christmas with them. He was given Christmas fish, turkey and porridge. The peddler was extremely happy and stared at the girl in limitless amazement. The next day the iron master and his daughter went to the church. At the church she learned that a peddler had stolen the old man's 30 krona. She hung her head down. She found that the peddler had gone but left a gift for her. She found a little rat trap with wrinkled 30 krona notes and a letter addressed to her which read, "Honored and noble miss, since you have been so nice to me all day long, as if I was your captain, I want to be nice to you. In return for I do not want you to be embarrassed at this Christmas season by a thief." The rattrap is a Christmas present form. A rat who would have been caught in this world's rattrap if he had not been raised to captain. The tiny little rats have to roam around in search of food. Sometimes, it's the rat trap that is offering them food, just to take away their lives. Either knowingly or unknowingly, they will have to move forward to serve themselves some food. Humans tend to kill the troubling rat, who are themselves running around to find success and economic balance, and in the process, they too get stuck in the most irrational traps. Money, respect, name, fame, and success are those desperate needs of humans for which they are ready to run into circles for lifelong. That's what the rat race is all about. As humans, who are considered to be the most useful resource, they are sure to reach the finish line, just to realize that by the end no one needs money, and not even a huge amount of money can buy sanity. The old age people most of the time suggest to the younger generations, you don't need to rush, earn your needs while enjoying the process of living and learning. All living beings crave love, affection, understanding, and care when they finally complete the rat race. However, this desperate chase for materialistic needs is never going to end, no matter how well you understand the world. I, myself, can't resist following the same, since the world is all about survival. Darwin already proved the survival of the fittest. This fast-running world has no space for the economically weaker section of the people. They are exploited in every possible way. Here the fittest are people with lots of money and wealth. Rat race teaches you, chase for livelihood. The rat race refers to the incessant pursuit of more possessions, which leads to the need to work more, which leads to the need for more possessions, a better car to drive to work, better clothes to wear, a nicer place to live, as well as more conveniences to support all the work, which leads to the necessity of more work to pay for these things, which leads to feeling that since you're working so much you deserve to have more and better stuff, which leads to having to get a raise and work even harder, which leads to needing even nicer possessions to show the people you associate with that you deserve their high opinion, which leads to having to work even more, and when you're not at your job you have to take care of all your possessions and you're getting too much stuff, so you have to rent storage for some of it or move to a better house, which means you have to have an even higher paying job, which means people can become like rats, racing to get the piece of cheese or another reward so competitively that they seem to race constantly, always for some goal out there somewhere. Once one engages in this competition for more, it becomes difficult to declare one has enough and stop the constant escalation of desires, work for desires and desires for work. Think of the current American president and his conspicuous wealth, yet he is still greedy for more, as are many uber-wealthy people. They, like the rats, get the taste for the race and the goods they can acquire. Even if it's killing them, they cannot stop. There are a great many alternatives to the rat race. The rat race is not inevitable, it is a choice. The rat race of life can be considered many things. Some people consider it the corporate ladder, some people consider it the quest for happiness, some people consider it the ability to let go and become one with the world, people around you, others consider it simply the aspect of who gives up first. It's only called a rat race because people feel they have to compete against each other. Ultimately, the rat race is created by comparing our accomplishments, our joys, our challenges, our feelings, our pains, our experiences, to others. We wouldn't compare if we weren't concerned with knowing where we stood near them, but this also gives birth to the never-ending feeling that you're simply not getting there. I consider the rat race of life to be a myth. It's created by our conception that we have to be a specific way or be better or on par, or worse, for that matter, than someone else. If we were simply happy with who we are, and suck things out because we simply wanted to see them there, then the rat race doesn't truly exist, it's simply our life. It's simply what we accomplish by being ourselves, which is far more than we can accomplish living life like everyone else does. Every person is a little different, and every person will always think differently and bring a new perspective. If we were all the same, life would be very boring. I do not concern myself with the rat race of life, but rather with my own personal drive. This is simply my perspective on the matter. It's no surprise that you want to escape the rat race. From disappointing paychecks to toxic work environments, nobody really wants to sacrifice their life climbing a ladder they can simply try to own. Besides, you're not just some rat. You're a smart person who can do anything you set your mind to. You don't belong in some corporate race for over 30 years of your life. making some measly salary. You deserve not to have to worry about paying bills, to have the time to enjoy life, and not to dread Mondays. Can I get an amen? Amen. So, let's help you figure out how to escape the rat race once and for all. What is the rat race? The rat race is an exhausting weekly routine of trading your time for money for your entire working life. Those in the rat race serve business owners and investors with minimal financial reward in return for their manual labor. Why does everyone want to escape the rat race? 1. Living paycheck to paycheck. About 99% of the world population is either poor or middle class. And so that means a sweeping part of the world wants to escape the rat race they're stuck in. Imagine getting paid every 2 weeks, yet, you never have enough money to cover all your expenses. Your mortgage or rent takes up over a third of your salary. Plus groceries, plus utilities, plus property taxes, and then throw in some life in the way, weddings, birthday parties, funerals, and job loss. Plus, you've got to pay the taxman. And so most of your salary doesn't even end up in your pocket because it gets deducted right away. Phew, this list is bumming me out. And it probably bums you out too. No wonder everybody wishes they could escape the rat race. Few get paid enough to meet the basic needs. 2. Looking for a more life greater than work balance. Life's short. Do you want to spend 40 hours a week for 30 to 40 years working? Wouldn't you rather spend time with friends and family? Don't you wish you could pursue your passions? Or creating something meaningful? Maybe you want to spend your life helping others. Having a job can make life more meaningful. It gives you a reason to get out of bed in the morning. But wouldn't it be nice if you could choose when to work and when to play? Isn't it better to have some freedom in choosing how you spend your days? Many of the world's billionaires still go to work every day. But for them, it's a choice instead of necessity. When you decide to escape the rat race, you'll also have the power to make that decision. 3. Working for others is soul-sucking. Okay, so it's 7 a.m., and your alarm goes off. Ugh, you hit snooze. It goes off again. You start getting mad about it. But still, you hit snooze. And you keep doing this until you have no choice but to get out of bed because today, you do have somewhere to be your 9-to-5 job. You go to the office, feeling exhausted, and need to spend the next 8 hours of your day making everyone but yourself richer. Your CEO just bought a third home in Hawaii. And you're thinking about how you probably shouldn't have spent $7.04 on that breakfast combo from McDonald's. By 11 a.m., your perfectionist boss has already had his, "you're not good enough," chat with you. And at lunch, you realize that every day there's a new person to gossip about and today that person is you. By 2 p.m., you've sat through hours of meetings that have gone nowhere. And the only thing that has really changed is that pile of work on your desk. At 4 p.m., you decide to check the time every 5 minutes to see if it's 5 o'clock yet. Because you'd rather be anywhere else. But remember, today's only Monday. You've got to do this 4 more times this week. And that's why everyone's trying to escape the rat race. How to escape the rat race and never get sucked back in. 1. Give yourself a why. In your quest to escape the rat race, you need to know your why. What's the most irritating thing about being in the rat race? Is it the low pay? Maybe it's having a boss. Or you want to leave the toxic corporate environment. When choosing a why, you need to make sure it's burning the fire in you. The biggest life changes happen when you're raging mad. When you're at that boiling point and can't take it anymore. When you begin to feel that way, use that anger and frustration to motivate you to plan your escape from the rat race. 2. Stop buying things. You can't escape the rat race if you keep burying yourself in deeper debt. Cut up your credit card. Stop buying things you don't need. Instead, buy essentials like groceries and medicines. And there may even be some things you could cut from your grocery list too, like bottled water when you have tap water at home. Look at reducing your expenses as much as you can. This will help you save more money long term so you can live within your means. Plus, you can reinvest the money you've saved so you can grow it tenfold long term. That way, you can attain financial freedom. There's one other thing you'll need to buy, and we'll dive into that in a later section. 3. Pay yourself first. The secret to escaping the rat race is to pay yourself first instead of last. The average person tends to take their paycheck and pay off all of their expenses such as rent, phone bills, internet, and other types of costs. However, when you look at your paycheck after all those expenses are made, you're typically left with very little, if anything at all. Instead, you should set aside a certain amount every paycheck to pay yourself first. Maybe that's $100 each pay period. Then, with whatever is left over, you pay your expenses. If you fall short, that'll motivate you to step up your game to find a new stream of income, so you don't fall into debt. So, you might pick up a new side hustle, such as freelancing, to make ends meet. 4. Acquire assets. The only way to escape the rat race is to own assets. With the help of assets, you can earn more income. For example, you might buy an online store from exchange that's already proven to generate a profit each month. Or you could invest in stocks when they're affordable. You might choose to buy condos or houses while having a tenant pay for your mortgage each month. Ultimately, you want to acquire assets that'll make you money each month so you can earn a more scalable income. The assets you acquire could also lead to a big payday one day when you sell it. For instance, if your online store becomes highly profitable, you may choose to sell it for a higher price than you bought it for. Or if the property you purchased went up in value, you can sell it for a profit in later years to earn even more money. 5. Learn sales and marketing. The most valuable business skills that'll help you escape the rat race are sales and marketing. Those who pair their best talent with a sales and marketing skill will be able to escape the rat race once and for all. For example, say you're a talented artist. You always paint beautiful paintings. You've painted hundreds of pieces of art that are lying around your home. The only skills you need to develop next are sales and marketing skills so that you move your artwork out of your home and into someone else's. Those who don't learn to master these skills will simply be left with beautiful artwork seen by no one. But this ability to self-promote your work as an artist can help elevate your wealth. 6. Pick up a side hustle. To acquire new assets, you'll need to have enough money in the bank to make purchases. The best way to make money is to have a side hustle. There are a few ways you can do this. First, you can use a trade time for money approach so that you're guaranteed to make money. The downside to this is that time is finite, and you'll still be working for money instead of having money work for you. For these kinds of side hustles, you'll likely be doing some freelance work such as graphic design, writing, or programming or influencer marketing. Another option is to focus on a passive income stream. This inches you closer to having money work for you. Examples of low-cost passive income streams are dropshipping, blogging, online education, or app creation. The last option that could be low cost comes down to your portfolios, such as investing in stocks. Depending on which stocks you invest in, you could earn additional income that could be used to acquire bigger assets. 7. Invest your money. You can't escape the rat race unless you invest your money in something that makes your money more money. The biggest mistake people often make is spending their savings in an emergency. However, you shouldn't dip into your savings ever. You need to let the process of compounding interest take its effect. The money should only be used to make more money. You might invest your money in a new business, the stock market, or in real estate. Keep in mind that in all three cases, there's risk involved. Most businesses fail. As we've seen in recent weeks, the stock market crashes, and real estate doesn't always go up in value. However, despite risk, there can also be major rewards. When it comes to investment, start small. Don't throw your entire life savings into one investment and hope that it skills. There are learning curves in business, stock market investing, and real estate. Before making a financial commitment, make an educational commitment. That way, you lower the risk of investing your money, and you have a fighting chance of escaping the rat race. 8. Outsource everything. So, let's be clear about something. There's a huge difference between being self-employed and being an entrepreneur. A self-employed person works in their business. In other words, their business is their new job. An entrepreneur owns the business. Or simply put, other people run the business. Rather than replacing your 9-to-5 job with a 9-to-9 self-employment gig, it's important to have help with your business. You should aim to hire people who are smarter than you. For example, if you run a dropshipping business, you'll want to find the best Facebook ads expert, product descriptions writer, and social media expert. By hiring people who are better than you, you'll help ensure your business success. Plus, you'll prevent burnout from overwork. If your goal is to escape the rat race, you're going to need some help building your asset anyway. 9. Save money. As you prepare to escape the rat race, you're going to need to save some money. A lot can go wrong in those first few months, so you'll need to have money that you can invest, money for an emergency, and money to support you in your transition. You should have at least 6 months of savings just to cover your salary. The best situation would be to already have an asset making you money before you make your full transition. But sometimes, life doesn't hand you your best situation. Sometimes, life hits you in the face with a curveball. Maybe you or your partner experience a sudden job loss, and you're forced to scramble money together. If you find yourself in an emergency situation and don't have enough saved up, focusing on a freelance opportunity can help you get back on your feet in the interim. 10. Quit your job. There will be a big day in your life, the day you officially escape the rat race. You'll walk out of your workplace for the last time and take a big gulp of fresh air and think to yourself, freedom. It's a huge moment that not everyone is lucky enough to experience. In some rare cases, escaping the rat race is a little unplanned. Maybe you experienced a recent layoff and were forced out of employment, increasing a sense of panic. Losing the sense of security from your workplace, regardless of whether it was planned or unplanned, can be overwhelming. Even if you've planned this for months, you may find yourself panicking down the road. So, it's important to create a quick plan for emergencies. There are many remote jobs where you can trade time for money in the short term should a financial situation arise down the road. Always aim to do regular assessments each week of your financial situation to help prevent you from getting sucked back into the rat race you escaped. Start selling online now with Shopify. Conclusion. While working in the rat race has the benefit of a recurring paycheck and some security attached to it, most people eventually realize it was all a facade. In times of crisis, we see the rise of mass layoffs. We also see that happen as technology advances, and automation replaces people's jobs. The rat race was never a safe place. Your job is never truly secure. By following the steps in this article, you can escape the rat race to become more financially independent. And that independence is something you'll never want to lose again.